Wesley Hunt, dear friend. Wesley Hunt, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for coming on.
Happy New Year to you, Larry. Thank you for having me on, brother.
I know I riffed on the budget stuff, but I just want to go back to Peter Doocy's report on Trump diplomacy. Because, you know, contrary to what Democrats may be saying, these are uniquely, Greenland, that is to say, and Mexico, and the Panama Canal, these are American national security and economic security interests. They are vital interests, are they not? Right. And what if Mr. Trump is addressing them in a forthright way to show that what we gave up in the Biden years, we're going to get that footprint back and then some. What do you think, Congressman?
Oh, I can't agree more with you. Let's just start with the Panama Canal. 55,000 Americans helped build the Panama Canal. 5,600 Americans died building the Panama Canal. So the idea of us now having to pay the Chinese to use our own vessels to go through the Panama Canal is ridiculous. President Trump is absolutely spot on. Regarding Greenland, look, if I'm a Greenland citizen, I would love to be under the banner of the greatest country in the world. It's also very strategic for us, given the relations that we are dealing with Russia and other European countries and our adversaries. And by the way, naming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, again, as an American, that's one hell of an idea. And why is that? The cost that we get and the money that is spent in that region primarily is spurned because of the United States. Again, this is about putting America first and going back to policies that benefit the average taxpayer and everyday American. Why would we not call it those things when we are the beneficiary? And not only that, we're the ones that are investing the most in the world in those regions and in those areas. And nobody is talking about just taking this land from people and annexing them. We're talking about paying for it. If we do pay for it, though, wow, imagine that. A return on our investment by investing in the Panama Canal, by investing in Greenland, and by making the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. All what I think are great policies for us in general.
I mean, these are core U.S. interests, core American interests. Yes. These are not far-flung, widespread, other side of the world interests. These are right here, core interests. These are Monroe Doctrine interests, which could become the Trump Doctrine, okay? These are China infiltrating Latin America, Central America, Latin America, South America, the Panama Canal. These is China and Russia nosing around Greenland, right, and the Arctic for naval bases and Air Force bases and whatnot. These are core American interests. These are vital security. Can I ask you a question? It gets so frustrating to me. I cover this stuff for so many years. Why won't Democrats? There was a time when the Democratic Party had, national security experts in it, like a Sam Nunn, for example, all right, or Richard Russell, or people like that, going back many years. Why these guys? It's like this knee-jerk reaction. Hakeem Jeffries, I don't even know the man. So Trump says some things that make eminent sense, okay, and they don't take it seriously. They have to fire back, no, no, no. What is wrong with that, Wesley Hunt?
Well, it's the dichotomy in our ideology as a whole. These people are still willing to light hundreds of billions of taxpaying dollars to send over to the Ukraine with no real return on that investment. What President Trump is talking about is an ROI. The idea of us investing in something and America getting something back for it and large turn. And also, we get to pay off our debt with this money. We get to lower taxes with this money. We get to unleash American energy with this money. So again, it's getting something instead of giving it away like we've been doing for decades. It makes perfectly good sense to me, and it certainly helps out with our strategic global purposes in our country without putting boots on the ground elsewhere. I'm a war fighter. I don't want to send our sons and daughters to fight in war. We can literally just control the global markets by taking over areas, not taking over, but by investing in areas that, quite frankly, benefit all of us collectively.
The Monroe Doctrine was very important. To keep out interference in our hemisphere. But that was 200 years ago, 203 years ago. An updated version could well be the Trump Doctrine. I think that's very important. And it's a pity that the Democratic Party does not have any sensible, no common sense whatsoever. Anyway, let's move on. We need a coalition of people to get one big, beautiful bill. Speaker Mike Johnson has said it again today, The Republicans in the House they're great people, diverse. There are many different interests. The only way you're going to get them together is in one big bill, I would think. What does Wesley Hunt think about one big bill?
Well, I know President Trump wants one big bill, and I fully support President Trump's ambition. But I also want to say this. We're slicing the bologna really thin here. If it's one big bill or two, what do we want? We want good energy policy. We want to unleash American energy. We want tax cuts. We want border security. If that happens in the next few months, and if it happens again before June, we're talking about 3 months. I think we need to be focused more on what's actually in the bill that's going to benefit the American people, and I get so caught up on whether or not it's one or two. I think Speaker Johnson spoke this morning, and I was in the meeting, about having one bill, and I like the idea of it, but again, there has to be tax cuts to it. I personally want to avoid CRs, and I want to personally make sure that we have some kind of debt ceiling moving forward so we can actually keep spending reined in. But again, I want to reiterate this. It's not about two bills entirely. It's about what comes out of it, and President Trump is a very effective leader. He wants the result. The process is going to take care of itself, Larry.
You know what it is about? It's about growth. And it's about defense. And it's about closing the border. And it's about more energy production and $2 gasoline and better electricity prices. That's what it's about. It's about all the above. It's about growth. It's about ending Bidenflation and Bidenomics. Anyway, Congressman Wesley Hunt, Happy New Year, sir.
Correct.
Good to see you again. Thanks
Happy
very
New Year,
much.
sir. Thank you for